force expiratory technique. Then we were on the basic concept of various different secretion removal technique, which is good, which is comparatively good. Then we had discussed about the basics of mucociliary transport system, that coughing and huffing will be more effective at the first to 6th, 7th generation of this bronchial part. So 0 generation to first generation. So throughout the trachea to the your respiratory bronchial, we can call it as a proximal bronchial will be more directed towards your coughing and huffing. So coughing and huffing will be more effective in this first to 7th generation of your bronchus. Then we had learned about the cephalad airflow bias, which will be assisting in secretion mobilization. When the person is sedentary, then coughing, huffing will be sluggish. Only cephalad airflow bias will be active. What is cephalad airflow bias? We had discussed about the that when inhalation will come, when we do the inspiration, then airway dilates. When we go for exhalation, expiration, it will narrow. So ultimately, when it narrows, when you exhale, it takes the secretion with it, and it can take out of the mouth. So the cephalad airflow bias also a company that supports the mucociliary transport system. We had learned about that also. Yes, we had seen this basic mechanism, how the cephalad airflow bias will be effective in ciliary motion. So cilia will be very much effective in taking the secretion out of the mouth, because it gives thrust to the foreign bodies or any object or dust, various things. So cephalad airflow bias also assist this ciliary motion. So now I had mentioned you that we will talk about equal pressure point theory. So have you read about equal pressure point theory? See, it's a basic. We had learned in the second year also. It is the basics of your breathing mechanism. See, when you go for breath holding, what happens? So when you go for breath holding, at one point the airway will be closed, or we can call as a pleural pressure and airway pressure both are equal at one place. So it is ultimately happening because of it can be, we can call as it can be changed. The equal pressure point can be changed, or we can call as the point where the airway closes, or we can call as a point where pleural and airway pressure are equal. That pressure, that point, that is called as a equal pressure point, or we can call as a airway closure point, or it is a point where the pleural and airway pressure are equal. It is a point from where you can take out this secretion out. This is the point where you'll be having a maximum shear force, so that you can take that secretion out of the mouth. So what is the basic mechanism when you're taking breath? See, first of all, what is coughing? In the coughing, we will do inhalation. After inhalation, we will go for what? Holding of the breath. And when we go for holding of the breath, what happens? When we go for holding of the breath, what happens? There will be a pressure, there will be creating. Are you getting this? We are creating the pressure. So at that pressure, and suddenly we are closing our glottis. So inhalation, closing of the glottis, generation of the intra-abdominal pressure, and suddenly we are opening the glottis. So when we open the glottis, suddenly there will be an expulsion amount, and that is called as a cough. So taking deep breath, holding because of closing the glottis, suddenly opening of the glottis and expulsion of the air. This is what the cough. The cough may be weak also and cough may be strong also. So when you hold that part, at one point in the airway, it compresses the part that compresses the bronchus. It compresses the airway. So it is a point where the pleural and airway pressure are equal. So see, that is depending upon the how much volume of air you have taken in. Are you getting this? See, they have written here, during the cough or forced exhalation, EPP shift from central to the peripheral airways. So when you are coughing, when you are going for forced expiration, the equal pressure point will shift central to the peripheral airways, and secretion will be sheared. It will be sheared from the peripheral to central airways distally. We can explain in this way. See, this is the point in the airway where there will be an equal pressure of the pleura and your airway. Yes. So see, you can take an example of three different options. So first option is you take deep breath. You can take deep breath and cough. You can take deep breath. So you will feel thirst at different point in the airway. Now you take medium volume of air. So we'll feel thirst at the different point in the airway. And when you take only little amount of air, small amount of air, so it will be weakened. So as you are taking a very little amount of air volume, you will feel the thirst at the very peripheral, very distal areas of the airway, like nearer to the respiratory bronchioles. So when you take little amount of air and you are coughing, the equal pressure point will be nearer to peripheral airways. Are you getting this? The second thing, when you are taking medium amount of air, again there will be the equal pressure point more proximally. It will be near to your medium airways, medium diameter airways. And now you feel when you're taking deep breath, so we'll feel the thirst nearer to upper respiratory tract or larger diameter airways. So how can we take this equal pressure point theory in taking this secretion out? So we can place our logic in this way, that whenever the secretion is in the peripheral, whenever the secretion is in the periphery, that which is not loosened, and you can hear not too much amount of secretion in the proximal airways, all the secretion will be in the distal or peripheral airways. So what you can do, you can ask patient to go for weak coughs, and then once you feel that now it is mobilizing, now gradually because of your various therapy, now the secretion is coming back to the proximal airways, then you can ask patient to go for somewhat larger breath, somewhat more amount of volume, and going for cough and force exhalation. Again, when you feel that now the secretion is coming into the proximal airways, so you ask patient to go for taking the larger breath and going for coughing. So the equal pressure point will be more in the larger airways. So you can, when you going for cough, the secretion will be removed out. So when the secretion will be in the periphery, you go for weak coughs. It will be when the secretion in the middle zone, you can go for medium amount of breath and go for coughing or forced exhalation. And when you feel that now the secretion is in the bronchus or in the trachea, nearer to trachea or a secondary bronchus, then you can go for coughing. Coughing means strong cough, taking deep breath, larger amount of volume and going for cough, so that the shear force will be more or equal pressure point will be more in the larger airways. Are you getting this concept, student? Are you getting this concept, student?
Yes, sir.
See, I have mentioned
Yes,
the
sir.
same thing here. Same thing here. This is the bronchus, your chest wall and alveoli. See, bronchus, it means airway and pleura. The pleural pressure and the bronchial pressure. When it is equal, the compression will be here. The bronchial pressure is less, pleural pressure will be more, then the pressure will be less here. Again, the pressure is again because bronchial pressure is more and pleural pressure is less. So again, what is alveolar pressure? Pleural and elastic pressure. Again, see, this is alveolar pressure, this is bronchial pressure, this is elastic recoil, and this is pleural pressure. So, when the both pressure, bronchial pressure and your pleural pressure equals, that is your equal pressure point. Here there will be a more shear force. So, when there will be a secretion will be there, and when you're going for cough, so it can take the secretion out. This is the basic mechanism of equal pressure point. So whatever the technique of bronchial hygiene therapy you do, you go for ACBT, and that force expiratory technique will be there. You go for coughing and huffing. You go for various other technique like autogenic drainage. See, autogenic drainage is very much depend upon this equal pressure point theory. Yes, are you getting this? See, smaller amount of volume you have taken, the more distally the equal pressure point will be. The medium volume of the air you have taken, the equal pressure point will be in the medium size airway. And when you have taken the very large amount of volume, deeper breaths, so the equal pressure will be on the more proximal airways. So this is called as a low lung volume, mid lung volume, and this is called as a high lung volume. So how much amount of volume you are taking depends on that. You can move your EPP backward or forward, proximally or distally. Larger the air you are taking, higher the lung volume you are taking, the EPP will be more proximally. Lesser the air you are taking, lesser the volume you are taking, the EPP will be distally. Yes. So from where you want to take the secretion out, that matters. Are you getting this, student? Ha. So this is the bronchial tree at FRC, at full inspiration, full expiration, and during the coughing. You can see what happens at normal FRC, you see, and B, full inspiration, at full expiration, and during the coughing. See, when the coughing, there will be a tendency of collapse. When person exhales, there will be a tendency to collapse. As just now we had seen, cephalad airflow bias, what it says, when you're taking deep breath, the airflow dilates. When you are exhaling, when you're going for expiration, the airway will be narrowed. Yes. So this is how you need to go for coughing. Simple, you make patient lie in comfortable position. You demonstrate person like this. You can ask patient to sit in a semi-forward position. If sitting is not comfortable, you ask patient to take deep breaths, hold it breath, and using the abdominal muscle, ask him to go for forced coughing against the closed glottis. So again, the sequence will be same, taking a deep breath, holding it, and suddenly opening up the glottis. So when you're opening the glottis, because of equal pressure point at that site with the shear force, the secretion also will come out. Again, take several relaxed breath before going for next cough. You can repeat this sequence 2 to 3 times. You can go for huffing also. See, again, the cough will be sometimes weaker in nature because of the pain in the abdomen. Sometimes patient has undergone the surgery. So what you can do, you can ask patient to use some napkin or use or protect the incision site with the pillow or any other clothings, so that, or you can compress the chest uh, uh, so that it will be not painful. You can press like this, so it will not be that much painful, and you can go for coughing. Yes. So likewise, 2 to 3 times you can ask patient to go for that. Huh? Same sequence here they have explained. Yes. So again the same procedure. How this is the mechanism of normal coughing. The normal cough consists of 4 phases. The first, whenever there will be irritation, irritation may be because of secretion, irritation may be because of some foreign body, dust or anything. When you're taking deep breath, inspiration, holding, that is building of the intra-abdominal pressure, that is called as a compression at particular level, that closing the glottis, and suddenly opening of the glottis. So what happens? Sudden thirst with the abdomen, and because of sudden thirst, the secretion will come out of the mouth, but it is expulsion. So 4 phases. First is irritation, second inspiration, compression, and expulsion. Yes. Ha. Yes. Sometimes see what happens. Sometimes see, this is cough reflex. Cough is a protective mechanism. Sometimes it is sluggish because of some disease or because of some drugs or because of some pathology. Uh, so there are various phases, as we know: irritation, inspiration, compression, and expulsion. The weak cough may be because of impairment of these 4 phases. So this 4 phases depends on what? Like suppose irritation. If we don't have irritation, we will not go for deep breath. Again, we will not be having a deep breath. There will no compression. There will not be expulsion. So how the irritation will be sluggish? So when the person has been given the anesthesia, or person has given the any sedative drugs, a person has taken the alcohol when the CNS is depressed, or drugs, narcotics, analgesics. So ultimately, the coughing will be weak, irritation will be weakened. And again, we will not go for deeper inspiration because of the pain, neuromuscular dysfunction, maybe some pulmonary restriction also, and maybe abdominal restriction also, like pain or some surgery or incision. The inspiration will be weaker. Compression, again, you will not be able to hold or like close the glottis. Because of what? Because of recurrent laryngeal nerve damage, or they have given the artificial airway because in the surgery or some any procedure you have been given the ET tube. So because of that artificial airway, you will not be able to go for holding the glottis. So compression phase will not be there. Maybe you'll not be having a abdominal muscle weak strength, or we can say weakness of the abdominal muscles or abdominal surgery, and because of that also compression phase will be weakened. Like expulsion, now the last phase is you will not be able to cough it out, again because of weakness of the abdominal muscles. Again, the lung recoil tendency is less because of the elastic tissue is not that much working, that is in emphysema. Or COPD, there may be a airway obstruction. So because of this phases may be compromised, and you will be having a weaker cough. So we need to improve this cough mechanism. Yes, are you getting, student? The same thing here they have given, but in a different mechanism, different way, different sequences. Again, this is same thing: adequate inspiration, holding, glottis closer, building up the intrathoracic and intra-abdominal pressure, and sudden opening of the glottis and expulsion of the air, so that the secretion also will go out of this mouth. Yes. So there are various techniques of the cough. In that you'll be having a double cough, controlled cough, series of 3 cough, huffing and pump coughing. So these are the various different modification of the cough. But ultimately cough is what? Preventive mechanism, protective mechanism. So when we'll be having a secretion, we need to remove it out. If secretion will be inside our lung, then there may be so many complications like infection and hypoxemia and all. So what they say, double cough is what? After a deep inspiration, patient performs 2 coughs in a breath, like this is what? Double cough. The second is usually more forceful than the first. This is what? Double cough. Yes. Controlled cough. Patient takes 3 deeper breaths. Like we have to ask patient to take 3 deeper breaths, exhaling normally after the, yes, exhaling normally after the first 2, and then last will be coughing firmly on the third. So first 2 breaths are just believed to decrease the atelectasis. So when they take 2 breaths, deeper breaths, so the collapsed alveoli will be expanded, and the last breath, third one, will be giving the full volume and the cough. So the expulsion will be more, secretion will go out. Yes, this is called as a controlled cough. It means 3 breath, 3 deep breath. In first 2 breath, you take deeper breath, so the atelectasis will be prevented. And the last deeper breath and coughing, again it takes out the secretion. Then subsequent series of the 3 coughs. Patient takes smaller breaths. Ultimately, EPP will be peripheral and gives fair cough. Again, they take bigger breaths and give harder cough. Finally, take really deep breath and gives a forceful cough. This technique allows patient to work there up to forceful cough. See, when we have to teach patient effectively. So again, we remember that theory of the equal pressure point. So when we go for subsequent 3 breaths with the different volumes, when we take smaller breath, it takes the secretion out from the peripheral. When we take medium, then it takes out secretion from the medium airways. And when we last take, allows patient to take deeper breaths and asking patient to forceful cough, so secretion can be easily out. This is called as a series of the 3 cough. Yes. So what is the difference between huffing and coughing? Yes. See, coughing in that phase will be having a irritation, holding, generation of the intra-abdominal pressure, like inspiration, holding, generation of the intra-abdominal, intrathoracic pressure, and expulsion. So in the huffing, you are just taking the breath in, inspiration, but we are not holding. So we are exhaling the air without any obstruction. So coughing is with the closed glottis and suddenly opening the glottis. Huffing is just simple. You should not close your glottis. You are exhaling forcefully against open airway. You are not going for any closing glottis. Yes, so it is very safe. Huffing is very safe to give in the case of a post-surgical patient. See, when the surgery has been done over the sternum, like median sternotomy, like or bypass surgery or cesarean section or thoracotomy, any surgery. So when you ask patient to go for coughing, intra-abdominal pressure and intrathoracic pressure will be raised. So the incision, the suture will be stretched. So patient will be having a pain. But here we are not building any such intra-abdominal and intrathoracic pressure, so that you will not be having a pain. So patient will find very safe in doing the huffing. Yes, so it is very safe. And the last is pump or coughing. The patient takes deep breath and then gives 3 short, easy cough, followed by 3 huff. This facilitates the secretion clearance in the patient with the air trapping. So what they say, what they will do, they will take deeper breath and they will give short cough, then huff. So what will happen when they do huff at the last? So the trapped air will be again it will be out. So the residual volume will be decreased. The patient will feel good because of this huffing. Are you getting? So these are the various types of cough. Again, see, there will be another category that is called as a dry cough and wet cough also. So usually dry cough will be irritation to the trachea when there is no purulent, there is no sputum as such. But when there will be a bronchiectasis, COPD, cystic fibrosis, or pneumonia, you'll be having a profound, or TB, you'll be having a sputum with the infection or wet cough. Yes. So coughing and huffing will be more effective. But again, coughing are helpful in patient, especially those who are going for a bronchospasm. So huffing and pump coughing should be done in case of a asthmatic patient who will be having a tendency of bronchospasm. Yes, so many different categories we have seen, series of the 3 coughs, various things we have seen. Sometimes a patient is not able to cough. Then what you can do, when the person is sedated, it means there will be irritation is the problem. Irritation is not there. So with the tracheal stimulation, you can place your index finger just above the manubrium sterni and you can tickle it. And when you can tickle it, ultimately it gives you irritation. And because of some pressure and irritation, patient is having a cough. So when the patient is having a cough, the secretion will be draining to the proximal airways. So this tracheal stimulation is very important in case of a neuromuscular disease patient. Yeah, already we had discussed about the same thing, forced exhalation. Again, you can ask patient to go for huffing game also. The simple normal cardboard piece you can ask, you can give patient, like a pediatric population, you can give some whistling object and you can ask patient to blow and inhale and exhale, so that it's like a game also, and you can teach the huffing also. Yeah,